One of the catchphrases that a lot of coaches will use, and this is both in the private and professional sectors, is sport-specific training. I'm sure if you Googled or YouTubed sport-specific training, you would probably get thousands, if not millions, of results of people hooting and hollering about what will and what won't lead to success in your given sport. It is my opinion that there is no such thing as sport-specific training other than playing your sport. We'll use an example is we'll take the hang clean. For those of you who know what a hang clean is, we see this in a lot of collegiate football settings. Phenomenal movement for a football player. But is this really a sport-specific movement? Well, last I checked, we're not hang cleaning in the middle of a football game, right? So we can get as silly as this as we want. Obviously, we know that it's not a barbell that I'm using, but I'm snapping off that line. Yes, a hang clean looks a lot like that first step off of the line, we get it. But if we look at more silly examples, we have coaches who are telling athletes to go and you need to do tire flips because that's sport specific for football. You need to run poles because that's sport specific for baseball. The list goes on and on. Instead of looking at this sport specific, which again, I am not a big fan of, let's start looking at athlete specific. And so coaches, I know this job is a bit harder, especially for those of you who are involved in a team setting. You can't really be picking out each individual. But let's take the coach who is a personal trainer, or even better yet, let's take that individual, that athlete who is doing extra outside of the weight room, away from your team setting, is stop trying to mimic sport-specific activities and start to ask yourself questions, what is it that I personally need? So if you're an individual who knows that your coach is expecting you to gain a few extra steps this year on that football field, and you're not working on your explosiveness, you're not working on your sprint mechanics, you're not working on your sprint repeatability or your conditioning, you're missing the point of what it means to be an athlete and what it means to have a legitimate training model. Don't think of sport-specific activities, well, as a football player, I need to do blank. Instead, ask yourself, what is it that I personally need to do? Once you start to separate those two, you're gonna notice that your training program is, number one, going to produce better results, but number two, it's gonna be a whole lot more enjoyable because you're gonna start to internalize the protocols, the modalities that you're doing, and therefore I believe all of that's going to spill into greater success.